Act 1, Scene 1. As the play begins, songs from 1968 are being played. Marvin Gaye, the Beatles, the Supremes, Simon and Garfunkel, The Fifth Dimension. Anyone serving in Vietnam in '68 knew them all. Video clips are seen on a large screen, scenes of the Vietnam War. Then we see an historic 10-second film clip from President Kennedy.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
In the darkness, we hear a man's voice say, "Robert Henderson, are you ready?"
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Robert James Henderson,
I, Robert James Henderson,
having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States in the grade of second lieutenant,
having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States in the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will, well and faithfully, discharge the duties of this office upon which I am about to enter.
and that I will, well and faithfully, discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. You are now Lieutenant Henderson.
Thank you, sir.
I wish you Godspeed in your service to our country, and much success in all your future endeavors.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Suddenly, we hear explosions. Flashes of light punctuate the pitch black. Gunfire, shouting. Then Chris, a 50-year-old woman, emerges. She speaks.
This much I was able to piece together. February 1969, 2 in the morning local time. The Viet Cong attack Long Binh, Dad's base. Rockets and mortars whistling in, loud explosions. Dad wakes up, has to be scary as hell. In my mind's eye, I can see him.
On stage, we see Robert, mimicking what Chris is describing.
Grabs his flak jacket, steel pot, sidearm. He's running for the bunker near his barracks. Poor Dad. His mind must have been in overdrive, probably not even thinking of me. Just surviving. Surviving. Because he's a short timer, only a week left before returning home.
Oh shit! This can't be happening to me! Not here, not now! Oh please God, not now!
But of course it was happening. I understand that Dad almost made it to his bunker when the second wave of mortars hit. The time? Approximately 0200 hours, Sunday, 23 February, 1969. Before I go any further, let me introduce myself. My name is Chris. My dad, Robert Henderson, named me. I was conceived when he and my mom, Karen, when they met in Hawaii for Dad's R&R 68. I may be turning 50, but I'm still enough of a romantic to believe they conceived me under a full moon on the beach at Waikiki. They weren't married yet, just engaged. 2 months later, back in Nam, Dad learns Mom is pregnant. No problem. They'll get married when he returns. Writes to Mom, let's call the baby Chris. If it's a girl, she's Christine. If it's a boy, Christopher. I like that. Very cool. I need to tell you up front that Dad was no war hero, at least not the John Wayne save the world type of hero. Probably the most heroic thing he ever did was volunteer to serve during the Vietnam War, something most of his college-educated friends never did. They found ways to avoid the draft. Dad could have too. He didn't. He just didn't believe that was right. I understand he was a good man at heart, a common man, caught up in an unpopular war. Later, I want to read you a letter Dad wrote to me, his unborn child, when he learned Mom was pregnant. I don't think he had any premonition of getting hurt, much less killed. It was more, just in case I don't make it back and I never get to meet you, I want to share these thoughts. Even today, it's hard for me to read because, well, you'll see what I mean. It's a reminder of what a terrible waste that war was and what Dad went through that year. The letter doesn't tell the whole story. And if Mom knew the whole story, which she must have, she only shared a portion with me. She did tell me they met cute, as they say in the movies. You know, clever repartee and all that.
Now we meet Karen, 23, Robert's fiancée. She joins Robert.
We met on a Friday night in the fall of 1966 at a party in the East Village. I remember it was loud and ruckus. I was with friends.
And I remember thinking all evening, is she even approachable? The suspense was killing me. I mean, she was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen. Until finally I just said, this is bullshit. Hi, do you belong to anyone?
Excuse me?
I said, do you belong to anyone?
I thought that's what you said.
Well,
Well, what?
well, do you? Do you belong to anyone?
Do I look like a piece of chattel to you? Like I'm someone's personal property, like I'd ever become someone's personal property? Or ever be for sale? Come on, you can do better than that, big boy.
How's this? You're beautiful. You're beautiful, you look intelligent, and I haven't been able to take my eyes off you all evening. More important, if you ever were for sale, I'd be the high bidder.
Oh, well, that's a little bit better. But do you belong to anyone? That's either the smartest or the dumbest pickup line I've ever heard.
Whoa, lady, who said anything about a pickup line? Just because I find you beautiful, charming, and irresistible doesn't mean I'm trying to pick you up, even if I am.
What's your name?
Robert.
Okay, Robert, I'm Karen. And you, Robert, you lie like a rug. Of course you're trying to pick me up. Oh my God. Oh my God, you're blushing. Okay, don't you dare chicken out on me now.
Moi? Chicken out? No way, lady, ain't never gonna happen.
You. God, you guys are all so predictable. It's like that old line. A guy on a date wonders if he's gonna get lucky, but the girl already knows. I'll bet that's what you're wondering. Wondering if you're gonna get lucky tonight. Well, Robert, guess what? We girls always know. In fact, I already know if you're gonna get lucky tonight. I know, but I'm not telling.
Karen, believe me, I'm not like all the other guys. I mean, I am, but I'm not. Yes, I was trying to pick you up, but yes, I also really want to get to know you. Can we start over? I'll ask you again. Nicely this time. Do you?
Do I what? Go on. I want to hear you say it again. One more time.
Karen, do you belong to anyone?
Depends.
Depends.
Yeah, depends.
Depends on what?
Depends on what you're looking for. Do I belong to anyone tonight? Do I belong to anyone tomorrow night? Do I belong to anyone forever? Or maybe, Robert, do I belong to you?
Well, that depends.
Depends on what?
Depends on what you're looking for.
Karen and Robert slowly reach out until their fingertips touch. Slowly they come together for a gentle first kiss. They walk off stage holding hands.
Mom told me that for the next year and a half they were inseparable, deeply in love, deeply in lust. The real thing. They had a simple plan to marry and live happily ever after, forever. That was their plan. But life doesn't always go as planned, because 18 months after they met, Dad, who's in the Army by then, gets sent off to Vietnam for his 12-month tour of duty. When he returns, they'll get married. That was their plan. Just before he ships out, a buddy who's already been to Nam gives Dad a well-worn Zippo cigarette lighter. It's for good luck, he says. And on it is inscribed, being in the Army is like wearing a rubber. It gives you a feeling of security while you're getting fucked. Mom also gives Dad a Zippo. Hers is shiny new. And because she was a flower child at heart, hers is inscribed to Robert. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. She does that because she loves my dad more than anyone on earth, because she wants the war to end. And what's most important, she wants Dad to come home safely so they can spend the rest of their lives together. That was the plan. and then he shipped off to Vietnam. You ready for this? You want to know how to make God laugh? Tell him your plans. You want to know how to make God laugh? You just tell him your plans.
Act 1, Scene 2. March 1968. Robert is in his room in Vietnam. Karen is in her room back in the States. Robert is making an audio tape. As he begins to record, we see Karen listening. She too has a small tape recorder.
Here goes, Karen. This is it, my first tape. Our first tape. It's weird talking to you like this, knowing it'll be at least 5 days before you get this. 5 days. And then another 5 days before I get your response. Anyway, here goes. There's so much to tell you, and it's all good. When I arrived, I lucked out and was assigned to fill a vacancy at the Army's headquarters here in Long Binh, some 25 miles from Saigon. This place is huge. Maybe 50,000 men in an area the size of Manhattan Island. They've got a large PX, a hospital, clubs for officers, clubs for enlisted men with dozens of combat support and logistical support units stationed here. I've got my own small room in a 2-story officer's barracks and a mama-san who comes by every day and does my laundry. My room has a ceiling fan and, get this, humongous flying cockroaches at night.
Yuck. Sounds creepy.
So, roaches aside, I'm lucky. We're lucky. So much better off than most guys over here. And today I met my boss, and get this, she's a woman. A Major Blackwell, supposed to be tough as nails, known throughout headquarters as Take No Shit Blackwell. Anyway, I met her today.
Robert walks over to Major Blackwell's portion of the stage. She's in her mid-40s, fatigues, perfectly starched.
Lieutenant Henderson, reporting for duty, ma'am.
Lieutenant, good to meet you. You've settled in?
Yes, ma'am.
Everything's okay? No surprises?
Honest answer? Everything's a surprise. I didn't expect an air-conditioned office, my own room in the barracks, flush toilets.
You'll get used to it. We'll talk more about that later. For now, let me start with the view from 30,000 feet. We have 500,000 men and women in Vietnam, but only about 1 in 5, 20%, will ever see combat. The rest of us are here to support them. Our office supports them on personal matters, things like requests for reassignments, compassionate leave, discharges. And then, Lieutenant, there's your job. You'll be heading up a small section here. Trust me, Lieutenant, I think you'll find it challenging. Did I say something funny, Lieutenant? Something to amuse you?
No, ma'am. It's just that I learned to be wary when someone says, trust me.
You don't know me, Lieutenant, do you?
No, ma'am.
Then you don't know that when I say trust me, you can trust me, do you?
No, ma'am. I didn't mean to offend you.
Oh, you didn't offend me, Lieutenant. You offended yourself. It's not the smartest thing first time we meet to imply that trusting me is funny. It's a reflection on you, Lieutenant.
Yes, ma'am, I apologize.
Just so we get things straight, know this about me. I can and will be tough, but I'm also fair. I know that behind my back some people call me Take No Prisoners Blackwell. I take that as a compliment, Lieutenant, not a criticism. I'm tough because I demand competence, excellence, good character. I won't tolerate laziness or dishonesty. Some people assigned here at headquarters act like they're better than everyone else, but they're not even close. They just lucked out. Anyone up here, Lieutenant, including yourself, could be in a hell of a lot more dangerous place than Long Binh. Don't you ever forget that.
No, ma'am, I won't.
Good. Now, about your job, Lieutenant, do you know what an ombudsman is?
Someone who investigates complaints, corrects a wrong, sees that a problem's been handled fairly.
Close enough. Picture this, Lieutenant. Picture Private Jones, 19 years old, stationed up near Da Nang. And Private Jones has a problem. Thinks he's been going out on too many patrols or that his sergeant treats him unfairly. Maybe Private Jones learns that his wife or girlfriend back home is pregnant by another man. Or maybe he just wants to be reassigned to a safer place. What does he do? He writes to his senator or congressman, or maybe to President Johnson or General Westmoreland. Same thing if a wife or girlfriend is concerned about Private Jones, like they haven't heard from him in 3 months.
For real? I never knew that people would write to their congressman with personal problems.
Well, they do, Lieutenant. All the time. Thousands of times a year. And you know what happens to those letters? The congressman sends them to the Pentagon for an answer. The Pentagon. And you know what the Pentagon does with them?
They send them here?
They send them here. Our office. We're the ones who supply the answers. Look, the Pentagon, the Army get funded by Congress. So the Pentagon wants to keep Congress happy, which means that each letter becomes important. And because every member of Congress wants to show that he takes his constituents' concerns seriously, even if it's a frivolous matter, we have to take those letters seriously. So we pull together the facts, send them back through the chain of command, and eventually to the congressman. Do you follow?
Yes, ma'am.
So if we do our job well, we keep the congressman happy. And if he's happy, the Pentagon's happy, which means we're happy. But if we screw up, then we've created a massive shitstorm at every level. Which, Lieutenant, is why we don't screw up.
No, ma'am. I mean, yes, ma'am. We don't screw up.
Remember I asked you about what an ombudsman does?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, because for the next year, that's what you'll be, unofficially. We don't have ombudsmen per se over here, but that's how you'll function. It will be your responsibility to investigate each of those complaints. If the Army's created the problem, I expect you to make sure it gets fixed. And if the complaint is a whole lot of BS, then you have to tell that to the congressman. Tactfully, of course. Do you follow?
Yes, ma'am.
You'll head up a small staff to support your fact gathering and an experienced first sergeant who can help you get started.
Yes, ma'am.
Final thought, Lieutenant. I was hoping to find someone with more experience for the slot. Doesn't matter. We can and we will make it work. Most important, Lieutenant, and regardless of your experience, I absolutely expect you to display the highest level of integrity. When we report to a congressman or draft a letter for the top brass, we cannot afford to let errors slip by or be anything than truthful. I cannot and will not tolerate that from you or your subordinates. And as I said earlier, we cannot afford any screw-ups. I will hold you fully responsible for your work and the work of your section, just as I am held accountable for this entire office. Is that understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Good. I wish you all the success in the world. Oh, and I meant to ask, are you married, single?
Engaged. Planning to get married when I get back from Vietnam.
And what does she do?
Her name's Karen. She's in grad school, wants to teach high school math.
Math. That's unusual. Not too many girls go into math. Well, I'm sure she's bright. Sounds like you two have your future planned.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Very good. Very good. Now, go introduce yourself to your staff, start to get the lay of the land, and we'll see you at 0700 tomorrow morning.
And that, Karen, was that. The start of my first day. From now on, it'll be 7 days a week, 12-hour days, maybe a few hours less on weekends, but it should be really interesting. I am so fortunate to have the job I have. Fortunate and a little guilty. Maybe guilty is the wrong word, but I'm pretty safe here while so many others are literally putting their lives on the line.
I just got your first tape, the one you made 5 days ago. Oh, Robert, I am so proud of you and what you're doing. Don't belittle yourself for not being out in the field getting shot at. You volunteered, and the Army put you where you're needed. Anyway, your job sounds interesting, and your little twinges of guilt don't bother me. What bothers me are women. I hadn't realized there were women over there, and you're reporting to a woman, which must mean there's other women too. I don't know, Robert. I hope the temptation of being around women doesn't lead you and your raging hormones astray. And believe you me, I know firsthand just how raging your hormones can get.
Hey, that's the last thing on my mind. Believe me, Karen, there are women and there's you. You're the only woman I'll ever want. Ever.
Well, I better be, or else you'll never get any more of your favorite you-know-what from me. Oh well, I guess I'll have to find someone else to practice on while you're gone. Sorry, soldier, that's the sad state of affairs from this side of the world.
You're funny. But God, just joking around with you like this, I miss you so much already. This could be a very long year.
For both of us.
For both of us.
And there's a lot we'll both miss.
There's an awful lot we'll both miss.
Anything special?
Oh, I think you know.
Something very special?
Something very, very special.
I have an idea. As if you haven't already thought of it. What if on some of your tapes you describe to me the very, very special somethings that you'll miss? And what if on my tapes I describe the very, very special somethings I'll miss? And we promise to leave nothing out.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Include everything.
Include everything.
How creative.
How inspired.
How exotic.
How erotic.
How daring.
Ah, yes, but how caring.
It's something to look forward to.
Yes, something very much to look forward to.
On that happy note,
On that happy note,
good night, Karen. I love you very much.
good night, Robert. I love you very, very much.
Act 1, Scene 3, April 1968. Karen and Robert are listening to tapes.
And bit by bit, this year will pass for both of us, and then we'll be back together again. A whole lifetime together ahead of us. You'll see. Good things will happen.
Today's April 1st, and things already happened. Amazing! We were in the office yesterday listening to President Johnson on the radio when he announced he would not run for a second term as president. I had to ask someone if I heard it correctly. I couldn't believe it. Maybe he's tired of the war. Maybe he wants to find a way out of it, go down in history as the president who achieved peace. Wouldn't it be great if he could do that? Wouldn't it be great if the war would end and I could come home early and there would be an end to all this killing? What do you think? Wouldn't it be great?
Oh, Robert, there is no end to the killing. Today's April 4th, and someone just assassinated Dr. Martin Luther King. He was in Memphis. Ugh, it's so sick, so terrible, so awful. He was such a good man. I'm heartbroken.
Oh, God, I know. It was all over the radio here. I heard him speak in my senior year in college. He was very moving. Such a beautiful man, and now some idiot or idiots have killed him. God help us all, Karen. It is sick. So terribly, terribly sick.
I know, Robert, I know. And now another week is gone. I never know when you'll get this tape. Do two planes crossing silently over the Pacific Ocean almost touch their wings as your tape comes to me and mine to you? I like that image. It's so much more peaceful than the reality of what's happening here. I watched Dr. King's funeral on TV, and it was quite moving. But now there's violence in some cities and more demonstrations, some about the war, some about the assassination. When I watch the demonstrations against the war, I get confused. Is the war right? Should we be over there? And I'm so proud of you for serving our country, but I'm so conflicted. You know, if the war is wrong, is it right for you to serve in Vietnam? All I know is that I want it to end.
We both want it to end, but I don't believe that the war is wrong. We're here for a reason. We're here to bring peace. We're here to stop communism. It bothers me when you say that.
Some of my friends, our friends, might be joining a demonstration, a peace march. I'm thinking of joining them.
I wish you wouldn't. I'm over here supporting America. Guys are putting their lives on the line every day. I know you mean well, but it just doesn't seem right. Like you're undercutting Washington. Like you're undercutting me.
All I want is to join others who want to end the war. That's something we both want.
Yeah, but I'd feel weird telling my friends what you're doing.
Well, maybe instead of feeling weird, maybe, just maybe, you should feel proud of me.
I am proud of you. I do love you. I know you feel you're supporting me, but it doesn't feel very supportive. Look, why don't we just drop it for now? But could you at least rethink about joining the Peace March?
Oh, Robert, I will. But this is awful. You and me trying to communicate like this from far away. I express a thought, you express a thought. Sometimes it's as long as 10 days before we hear a response, and there's just dead air and hurt feelings in between.
I hate it as much as you do. That sometimes we're at odds. I hate it, and I miss the closeness we had when we were together. I miss you, Karen. 2 months already seems so long.
2 months without you is hard, Robert. I know we have tapes and letters, but it's not the same as being with you and talking with you whenever I want. And Robert, I miss you at night. I miss sharing myself with you, giving you pleasure and having you please me.
I miss all that too. You know that. But this year will end, I promise. To be continued.
To be continued.
Act 1, Scene 4, May 1968. Karen speaks.
Oh, Robert, I'm so excited. Today is May 3rd, and they just announced that the peace talks with the North Vietnamese will begin in Paris next week. Maybe they can wrap things up, and my handsome fiancé will be home sooner. Wouldn't that be tricky? Today is May 10th. The negotiating teams have arrived in Paris. I'm so excited. Today is May 11th. Things are really moving in Paris. The procedural arrangements were completed. May 13th. The TV said that in Paris, quote, substantive talks have begun, unquote. Oh, Robert, I'm so optimistic. May 14th. Nothing new in Paris today. May 15th. Nothing new today. May 16th. Nothing new. May 17th, 18th, 19th. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Shit! Why don't they get off their goddamn asses and do something? Maybe by your birthday next week we'll hear something. Wouldn't that be great?
Act 1, Scene 5, later that month, May 1968.
Happy birthday, dear Robert. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. So, how did you celebrate your birthday?
I guess you want to know what I did for my birthday.
If I had to guess, I'll bet you went to the Officers Club.
Give up? I went to the Officers Club.
I know you better than you think.
My friend Keith took me there.
And I bet they had a stripper there.
Guess what? They had a stripper there.
Really? I was only kidding.
A real live stripper. Not 100% down to her, you know what, but pretty close. They had this Philippine band, electric guitar, drum, sax, trumpet, and these girl singers doing rock music and stuff. And the two of us were drinking away, and he proposed a toast to me. So I said, now that I'm 26, I'm too old to be drafted. That was funny, huh? Anyway, the band was good, the singing was good, and at the end, the other Philippine girl, she comes out kind of attractive with all sorts of see-through veils and long gloves and high heels. So the music, it starts up with this thick, heavy beat and lots of drums and stuff, you know, ba-boom, 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 and then whoops, she slowly peels off her first glove, and then whoops, there goes the second. Then off comes one veil, then another and another, until finally she's down to this bright red, spangly little bra that's pushing her boobs up, and she's got this G-string panties so small they must have shaved herself down there, and she's spreading her legs and doing these deep knee bends backwards so her head's almost touching the floor, and she's slowly putting this one veil through her legs and over her panty and over her pussy.
Robert!
And she starts rubbing her body all over. I mean, all over. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And the whole place is going wild. All these officers see yelling and whooping and whistling and cheering and all this pulsating music. Ba-boom, 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 pounding away.
I hate these tapes.
And then, Karen, then she turns her back on us, looks over her shoulder, and with one hand reaches behind and unhooks her bra. And with the other hand, she hooks her thumb into the waist of her panties and slowly begins pulling them down over her hips like, will she or won't she go all the way? And then, just as she starts to turn around and face us, Jesus, the goddamn lights go out. Boy, was there a lot of yelling. And 10 seconds later, the lights go back on and she's gone. Gone! And their three singers are back and the band starts playing, and you're not going to believe this, the band starts playing God Bless America. And Karen, everyone stood up and sang really loud with a lot of emotion, maybe even with love. I know it sounds like a contradiction going from what that stripper was doing in front of us, from that to God Bless America, but everyone sang. And there was so much feeling And I swear there was some sniffing and a lot of moist eyes. And then it was over. And everyone quietly went back to their drinking. But wow, what an emotionally charged evening. 1 minute, she's got a couple hundred horny officers in the palm of her hand, myself included. And the next minute, everyone's practically in tears over a song about our country. It was really something.
Well, I don't know how crazy I am about the stripper. It's almost too much of a tease. But I liked what you said about them singing God Bless America. I like that you're sensitive about other people's feelings.
People don't say too much over here. You never hear any political stuff about the war, and people don't talk too much about their hurts or wants. Though you do hear them talk about missing their wife or their girlfriend. But they just don't go too much below the surface if something's bothering them. Hell, I'm like that. I really don't unload much, except to you, in letters and tapes, and even then, I act as my own censor.
I think we both do, Robert. I know when I feel bad, I try to keep it inside and write about other stuff. It's not fair to write if I feel lousy, because by the time you get it, I'll probably be over that mood. All it would do is make you worry.
I think this year's been harder on you than on me. With me, minute by minute, I know where I am, how I'm doing. If anything ever happens to me, I'll know right away. But you're always 5 days behind. You never know if the tape you get today will be followed 10 minutes later by a knock on the door and someone telling you that I've been killed by a rocket attack on Long Binh. I can't imagine what you must be going through. I'm living with reality. You're not. You're living with the unknown.
I try not to think of it too much. I'm learning how to deal with it. Maybe I'm an optimist or a pragmatist. Is that the right word? Fatalist? But there's nothing we can do.
But there's nothing we can do.
And you're in a safer location than most, so I just assume you'll come home. It's my way of coping, but this year with my emotions, they're really mixed up. But what isn't mixed up is how much I yearn for you every day. It's almost physical. It never ends.
I know. I feel it too.
And I've never told you this, Robert. I'm too self-conscious. But when I'm alone and listening to your tapes, and when you start to describe how you'll please me when we're together, how we'll please each other, how you'll touch my naked body with your hands and your mouth will explore my most private places, and how I will reciprocate in kind. Oh, just hearing you say those words turns me on. Oh, God, how they turn me on. And all of my senses come alive. I can almost see you and hear you and taste you and touch you. And before I know it, I find I'm touching myself down there, as if my hands were your hands, your mouth devouring me, your beautiful cock, oh, so deep inside me. And one thing leads to another, one hand leads to another, and then, well, you've given me enough pleasure down there to know exactly what happens next. La petite mort, that little death you know so well.
Karen, I'm shocked. You diddling yourself?
Oh, and you're so innocent, Mr. Hands Down Your Pants, Mr. Dick in Your Hands.
I never claimed to be innocent. Okay, you want to know the truth?
Is it salacious? It better be salacious. If it's not, don't even bother.
Oh, it's very salacious. You'll like it. It speaks volumes to your more atavistic sexual predilections, your carnal lust, your primitive primordial eroticism.
You're such a tease. But I do question what inadequacies you're hiding that compel you to engorge your limp, flaccid sentences with such big, manly, tumescent words. By all means, don't stop now. Oh, Robert, don't stop now.
Well said. Shall we return to the matter at hand, as it were? Shortly before I left, I made a bet with myself to see if I could somehow, hold off and not masturbate while I'm here. Save it until we'd be together in Hawaii for R&R. Well, foolish me, I lost the bet in 5 days. Hey, a guy's got to do what a guy's got to do. Was that salacious enough?
Perfectly delightful. I even have a crystal clear image in my mind's eye of you, stroke by measured stroke, losing your bet. I'm just surprised you held out for 5 days. It's not like you. 5 minutes maybe, but 5 days. God, who knew you had such willpower? And masturbate? That's too genteel a word to describe what you do. I've seen you in action. Your hand in inspired blur, pumping away like a piston on steroids. I've watched your volcanic eruptions. Tell it like it is. You are jerking off, beating your meat, spanking the monkey, burping the worm, choking the chicken. Full speed ahead, Robert, no holds barred. Or, as Maurice Sendak so eloquently wrote, let the wild rumpus start. You know, Robert, all this talk about...
Yeah. All this talk about.
Let's pick that up again. It's
From?
fine, just a little faster. Just from
You know.
the giggling, and then, Robert, all this talk about, all this talk about. Yesterday it had a nice bing, 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 bing to it, so let's try and do that.
Okay.
Laughing.
You know, Robert, all this talk about...
Yeah, all this talk about.
And it's getting late.
And it's getting late.
It's close to bedtime.
And it's close to bedtime.
Maybe we should both do one last thing for ourselves before we go to sleep.
Maybe we're already doing that one last thing.
Robert, are you doing what I think you're doing?
What do you think I'm doing?
I think you're doing exactly what I'm doing.
If you're doing what I'm doing, then yes.
Oh, what dirty little habits we've developed.
Sinful habits.
Shameful habits.
Perverted habits.
Unspeakable habits.
Depraved habits.
Debauched habits.
Habitual habits.
Habitual habits. Oh, I'm afraid that's redundant, Robert.
Oh, sorry. Can't talk anymore. I'll lose my concentration.
Oh, be careful, Robert. I've warned you before. You'll get warts. You'll go blind. Hey, aren't you supposed to save every last drop for me in Hawaii?
Oh, too late, Karen.
Me too.
Good night, Karen. I really love you.
Good night, Robert. I really love you too.
Act 1, Scene 6, June 1968.
Oh, Robert!
I know, Karen, I know.
Bobby Kennedy!
I know.
Someone shot Bobby Kennedy last night in Los Angeles.
I know.
Murdered!
I know.
Someone shot Bobby Kennedy. Someone murdered him.
I know. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, Karen, I know.
Act 1, Scene 7, late June 1968.
So, what do you really do all day, besides pining away for me?
What makes you think I'm pining away for you?
Well, what else would a lonely, horny GI be doing when his sweetheart is almost 9,000 miles away, huh? Huh? Oh, wait, I think I know exactly what you would do, if you aren't doing it already. You can instruct the jury to ignore the question.
Well, today I went over a number of cases with Major Blackwell. Pretty routine stuff. Major Blackwell?
Ah, the good Lieutenant Henderson. How is the young lieutenant today?
I'm fine, ma'am, thank you. I have a number of congressional inquiries for you to see before I send them forward.
And they are?
Let's see. This one, a kid writes home that he was fined for shooting a water buffalo, had to pay the farmer $250, asked his father to send him some money because it wasn't his fault, it was an accident. So the father wrote to his senator, outraged that during a firefight his son saw something moving and it turned out to be someone's water buffalo. It didn't seem fair that during a war the boy had to pay. I looked into it. Turns out the kid actually lost his rifle. Still won't say how, and they docked his pay for the rifle. Fully appropriate response on our part, but rather than tell the truth, the kid lied, made up the whole story, so that's what we'll pass on to the senator.
Shot a water buffalo, huh? That's a new one. Next.
Kid writes to his congressman that something's wrong with his feet due to wet conditions here in Vietnam. Asked for a transfer back to the States. I contacted his CO, had the kid examined by a doctor. Turns out that his tinea corporis, ringworm. Not due to conditions in the field. The kid's being treated and put on temporary restricted duty, but no one needs to be reassigned to the States. The kid won't be happy, but I had the Surgeon General's office sign off on this before I showed it to you.
Next thing you know, kid stubs his toe and wants to go home. Well, can't blame him for trying. Okay, next.
Next, pregnancy case. Mother writes to General Westmoreland. Her daughter's pregnant and the father's been over here 3 months. I had the kid interviewed by his CO. He's 18 and the girl is 16. Kid won't admit he's the father. Nothing we can do. No way to force him to pay any child support. Sorry about that one. I haven't been here that long, but it's not the first one of those I've seen.
Go on.
Then there's this racial discrimination. A kid up at Fubai, a Negro, said he's pulled more perimeter guard duty than he should have, and his sergeant's got it in for Negroes. I checked this out pretty carefully. Turns out there was a mistake on his duty roster, so he ended up pulling more guard duty than he should have. I made sure it's been straightened out. Looks like it was a careless mistake, not prejudice, not intentional. Truth is, there's no way of knowing. Still have some more for you.
Anything critical?
No, pretty routine stuff. Wife writes to her congressman about not getting her allotment check. Turns out the husband never bothered to sign up for her. Next, a guy complained to his congressman about receiving a verbal reprimand for staying in bed at 6:15 one morning rather than going to his bunker during a rocket attack, if you can believe that. Got some health and welfare inquiries. Wives, parents writing because they haven't heard from their husbands or sons in weeks, wanting to know if they're okay. We get too many of those. Most turn into nothing. Just kids not taking the time to let people back home know they're okay.
That's it?
That's it for today. Lots more in the pipeline.
Do you have a minute, Lieutenant?
Yes, ma'am?
I've been wondering, Lieutenant, if you've given much thought about what you'll do next. What you see yourself doing after Vietnam.
You mean next March?
Next March. After Vietnam, when your active duty commitment is up.
Karen and I have talked about it. I plan to head back home, get married, start a family.
Have you ever thought about staying in the Army, making a career of it?
A career in the Army? No, not really. Not at all, actually. Why?
I've been impressed by you. People higher up are impressed. I could flatter you, but I won't. Let's just say that you're good officer material, career officer material. Does that have any appeal to you?
No disrespect, but I'll be heading home. I'm aware of the benefits, financial benefits, job security, stuff like that. I enjoy the work I'm doing much more than I expected. Maybe the biggest thing on the plus side of the equation is that I take pride in what I'm doing. Wearing the Army uniform, serving my country, that's a big thing. I really do take pride in that, but
there's another side to the equation.
straight answer?
Of course.
I just never pictured spending my life in the military, or even 20 years. I assume you're talking about 20.
Not necessarily, although it often works out that way. 20 years, 30 years, it varies.
Well, I just don't see that for me. Because although I support the need for a strong national defense, I can't see devoting my life to that cause. I respect that's a choice career officers make, that you made, but that's just not me.
But you volunteered, yes?
Yes,
Because?
because it was the right thing to do. I don't know what else to say.
Well, my young lieutenant, it's getting late. No need to solve this now. My hunch is we'll have one or two more discussions about this over the next 8 or 9 months. Good evening, Lieutenant. See you tomorrow, but please, give yourself time to think it over.
Thank you, ma'am. I will. And that, Karen, was the end of our discussion.
You're not considering staying in, are you?
I gotta tell you, there's a certain appeal.
But you never mentioned it.
I didn't mention it because it was just something floating in my mind. It's not what I ever pictured for myself or for us. But when she brought it up, look, I'll be honest, and I didn't tell her, of course, but when she brought it up, when she said she thought I could make a career out of it, that I was doing well, it triggered something in me, made me feel really good about myself.
You wouldn't do something that big without us talking about it, would you?
God, no, Karen, of course not.
Well, it scares me the way you brought it up. Please, just promise me you won't do anything like that, make any decisions that affect us unilaterally.
No, believe me, I never would. Hey, I'm gonna end this tape. I promised my friend Keith I'd meet him for a beer over at the Officers Club. Good night, Karen. Love you.
Good night, Robert. I hope you enjoyed the Officers Club. I love you too.
Act 1, Scene 8, still June 1968. We're in the Officers Club. Eve, 35, a captain in the Army Nurse Corps, walks in with a can of beer. Keith waves, gestures Eve over.
There you are.
Keith answers off stage. I owe you an apology. I tried to reach you. Anyway, I can't stick around. Hey, this is my buddy Robert. Robert, Eve, Robert. Now that you guys know each other, I got to run. Robert, buy the captain another beer and be nice to her. She'll kick your ass. She's one tough broad.
Oh, thanks for the kind words. Good friend you are, leaving already. You know, you just broke my schoolgirl heart.
Keith says, you'll get over it. You always do. Bye.
Yeah, now what?
Now what?
Yeah, now what?
Now what? What?
What do you mean, now what?
You said now what, and I simply wanted to know what you meant by now what.
This is fucking unbelievable.
What's fucking unbelievable?
What's fucking unbelievable? This whole thing is fucking unbelievable that we just met and we can't get past now what? Okay, we're gonna start over. I come in, I'm supposed to meet Keith. Keith gets up, Keith leaves, I'm left with Bob.
No, it's Robert, not Bob.
No, it's
Robert.
It's Bob.
Believe me, it's Robert.
If you're a banker or a lawyer or a remph, you're Robert. Otherwise, I don't know shit about you. Otherwise, you're Bob. Trust me, here in Nam, Bob's much better.
Remph? What's a remph?
What's a remph? You gotta be kidding me. Remph? R-E-M-F? Remph? Rear echelon motherfucker? You know, guys like you who end up at safe posts like here in Long Binh doing paperwork with the grunts out there in the boonies doing the hard stuff, the dangerous shit. Jesus, how long have you been here?
13 weeks, 3 days, 6 hours and change, but who's counting? Let's just call it 3 months.
Okay, 3 months. 3 months and you haven't heard the term? Jesus, where have you been hiding?
Yes, 3 months. And no, I haven't heard the term. I guess that makes me a remph.
3 months, unfucking believable. Oops, I better watch my language. You might have tender ears, Robert.
Don't mean to be rude, but I'm leaving. Anyone ever tell you you're a real piece of work?
No, I'm sorry. I'm the one who's rude. I apologize. That wasn't very nice of me. It's just been a really shitty, fucked up bitch of a day.
Can I get you anything?
No, thanks, I'm easy.
You were going to meet Keith?
Yeah, nothing special between us, just gonna meet for a beer. So, tell me about yourself.
Nothing special to tell. I work with Keith up at headquarters. I deal with personnel issues, special interest inquiries, and by your definition, I'm a remph. In fact, I'm probably the biggest, baddest, rear echelon motherfucker you ever met.
I think I already knew that about you.
You did.
I did. Keith mentioned you.
Keith did.
Keith did.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Really? Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, what?
What do you mean, Jesus Christ, what?
You said Jesus Christ, so I just wanted to know Jesus Christ what?
Jesus fucking Christ. We're back where we started. I say something and you answer with a question and then I answer with a question. It's fucking unbelievable. Okay, let me start with a simple question. Are you married?
No, I'm engaged. Why?
I don't do married men. Next question. Did your girlfriend?
Fiance.
Fine, fiance. Did your fiance just send you a Dear John letter? You know, Dear John, I just met the man of my dreams and it's not you. Your history. And by the way, did anyone ever tell you that you're lousy in bed? Goodbye.
Jesus, no. Why?
Because I don't give sympathy fucks.
You really are a piece of work. You must be the sweet-talking Eve that Keith told me about, who's a nurse up at the 24th Evacuation Hospital, right?
Yeah, that's me. No other Eves up there. And look, fair warning, I had a particularly difficult day today. I've already had a few beers. I'm not in a great mood. I'm a captain and you're not. I clearly outrank you, so you better treat me real nice. Or as Keith said, I'll kick your dumb ass from here to Saigon and back again if you're not careful.
I love it when you talk dirty. You really know how to turn a guy on. Did Keith really say my ass was dumb?
No, he didn't say it was dumb. Wait, turn around. But your ass is cute. Hey, do you really prefer being called Robert?
Yeah, I do. Almost no one calls me Bob. Though from you, it doesn't sound that bad. Might even be manageable.
Do you even know what we do up there?
At the 24th evac?
Yeah, the 24th evac.
Not really. Other than seeing all those medvacs flying in all the time. Must keep you busy.
I'll make it real simple. We see bad stuff, the worst of the worst. They bring them in by chopper, their bodies shattered by weapons designed not just to kill, but to maim and mutilate. AK-47s and grenades and mines and booby traps, bullets that travel through their bodies and rip apart their internal organs. We see them burned, we see them disfigured, we see them...
Look, you don't have to talk about it.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I need to talk. I need to talk! We see them, we see them, and one of three things happens. One, it's pretty serious, lots of damage. They're in shit shape, so we stabilize them enough so they can be evacuated back to the States. But they'll recover, most do, most fully recover. That's one. Or two, it's less serious. We stabilize them and get them better here at Long Binh. Great, but better for what? Better so they can go back to their unit, well, enough to go back in the field and become a target once again. Or three, We get them and work like hell, but by then they're too fucking gone and we can't save them. We can't save them and they die. And you know which of these three is the hardest on us? It's the second. It's sending them back to danger. And then today, one of those boys we made well enough to go back to his unit, one of those boys we got to know during his recovery, today he was medevaced back here and he was too far gone and there was not a goddamn thing we could do to save him. Nothing. We're good, but we're not that good. We're not God. And he died. He just fucking died. You have no idea what that's like. And how time after time I just have to smother my feelings so I can send the next kid back in the field. And then this happens. I hate it. I just hate it. It tears me apart. Maybe I'm supposed to become immune to it all, but I'm not. No one is. And I got to tell you, every time that happens, the war becomes just a little more meaningless. I wanted to be a nurse, to heal people, to help them get better, not send them back out to get killed.
I sometimes have to send guys back in the field, too.
Jesus, we have the same job. Hey, Lieutenant, make yourself useful. I could use another beer.
They have a few more, then the lights blink on and off a few times.
They're closing. I didn't realize we were taking so long.
Yeah, finding you felt good. I needed that. Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah.
I deal with people's problems all day long. That's all I do. Maybe we could meet again.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, if I could say stuff to you about the war that Karen doesn't understand, but you do, that maybe there was more to this evening than just two people talking.
A word of advice, Lieutenant?
Sure.
Listen carefully.
I'm listening.
Okay. Yes, we enjoy this evening. Who knows, maybe there is more to this than two people getting to know each other, getting to like each other, or maybe there isn't. Don't get ahead of yourself. We're in Vietnam. We learn to value life and feelings and emotions more than we ever did before. We lead stressful lives. We find we need companionship, maybe intimacy, probably sex. So when we find someone we can talk to, get close to, we start to feel things we haven't felt in a while, something that letters and tapes can't give us, and maybe we act on it. And maybe we start to forget about that special person back home. I see a lot of that up at the hospital with the doctors and nurses and the stress we're all under, but much as I enjoyed our conversation and would enjoy seeing you again, never forget, and I certainly won't, that there's a woman waiting for you back in the States. A woman you say you love.
I do love her. You've got it all wrong. I didn't mean it that way.
I'm not saying you did. I'm not saying you didn't. I'm not saying you even know what you mean. But we talked for more than an hour, Lieutenant, an hour. We had a shitload of beer. You were opening up to me a lot more than you realized, personal stuff you've been holding on to. Serious shit that's bothering you because you and Karen are on different wavelengths about the war. I've seen it before. I've been there before. You're new at this. You're still young. I'm not. I know where this can go. You don't. So just think about what I said.
But
just think about what I said, okay? The answer will come to you, and when it does, you'll have some decisions to make.
I hope we see each other again.
Yeah, we will. For better or worse, we will.
Act 1, Scene 9, July 1968. Robert and Karen are making tapes.
Well, the usual news from here. Some of it touching, some of it funny. Guy wants compassionate reassignment back to the States. Been here 8 months. Just found out his wife's 3 months pregnant. Wants to go home to work things out. Can't help him. Nothing we can do.
Ouch.
Here's some more. Kid writes to the vice president, this is for real, afraid he has VD. I made sure he was given a medical exam, then drafted a reply that all he had was a heat rash. Handled a case where a soldier thought he was punished unfairly for sleeping on guard duty in a hot zone, and another where I made sure that a guy with a restrictive medical issue was reassigned to non-strenuous duty. Plus, 2 or 3 other health and welfare issues where parents hadn't heard from their sons. The kids were just fine. Just made sure they wrote home.
That's good. You're doing your job. But I'm bothered that the peace talks seem to be going nowhere. And now there's talk that President Johnson has been lying to us about the war, about why we're there, about what we're doing, or if it's even winnable.
Why are you saying that? Presidents don't lie. They just don't. Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, they would never lie to us. And neither would Johnson. I can't imagine that any president would ever lie to us. Can you? It just would never happen. Period.
No, I guess not.
I rest my case.
Robert, I need to say something. Tell you something. Next month, when the Democrats have their convention in Chicago, there's a group of us who are thinking of going, and we just want to show our support for peace. It's no big deal.
But it is a big deal. We've talked about this stuff before. You're talking about going to Chicago and demonstrating at the convention, and maybe... Look, I gotta tell you, that would embarrass me.
Embarrass you? That me going to Chicago would embarrass you? Are you so concerned about what other people think of you simply because your fiancé is working to end the war? A war that so many people are getting killed in, where you might get killed? You know this is important to me, don't you?
Yes, but...
Yes, but what? Tell me. Am I missing something? I don't like the war. I hate the war, and you do too. I hate that you're over there. I don't even know if you're doing the right thing, but I love you enough and believe in you enough to support you. And no, I'm not embarrassed that you're doing what you're doing, and you shouldn't be embarrassed by what I'm doing.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm being unfair.
Yeah, damn straight you're being unfair. Look, all I want is for you to be safe and to come back safely. I don't want us to be fighting like this, and I don't want you fighting over there.
I'm not fighting you, and I'm not fighting while I'm here.
I know you're not actually fighting, but you're part of it.
I didn't choose this war, and I sure as hell have nothing to do with what you see on the 6 o'clock news every night.
God, you're splitting hairs. No, you're not doing the bad stuff, but you're part of it. It's the civil rights slogan all over again. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. I want to be a part of the solution. Don't you understand that?
I sort of do, but I'm not saying you're wrong. But my focus is on my job, doing the best I can, looking out for our troops here in Vietnam. I don't have the luxury of thinking about politics and policy like you do. That's for Washington to figure out. I believe in what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. I trust Washington. That's my reality, my responsibility. It's what I signed up for, took the oath for.
You never sounded so patriotic when we first met.
You're right. I never was this patriotic when we first met, but I am now. Seeing what I see, doing what I do. You can protest all you want, but I'm supporting the troops here 200%. They're putting their lives on the line. What's so hard to understand? You want to change the world to what? I'm not sure. I just want to make it better for our guys over here.
Yeah, but better for what? For whom? For how? By killing innocent people and burning their villages? What? To save them from communism? Come on. Robert, you're smarter than that.
Don't lecture me. Don't patronize me.
I'm sorry, Robert, but I'm going to Chicago. It's that important to me. And if it upsets you that your friends know, then don't tell them. You know, I don't mean to hurt you. This whole situation just sucks.
And I'm sorry too. Why is it I sometimes feel you don't understand me or what it's like to be here? We seem to be going over the same stuff time after time after time after time. Ad infinitum.
I'm sorry, Robert. I really am.
I know.
Act 1, Scene 10, August 1968, Officers Club. Eve is at a small table. Robert walks in.
You're late.
Huh?
I said you're late. Did you forget everything you ever learned in basic training?
Huh?
Army rule number 1, Lieutenant. If you're 5 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're 5 minutes late, bend over and kiss your ass goodbye. Your history.
So
I've been waiting more than 10 minutes, Lieutenant. 10 minutes, which means you're about to bend over big time and kiss your ass goodbye. Can't wait to see this.
Mea culpa, I was working late.
I'm not sure apologies cut it, which brings me to the all-important boy meets girl rule number 1. Never, ever arrive late for your first date with a girl.
First date?
Right, first date.
What's this about a date? I thought we were just going to have a beer and talk.
Well, Lieutenant, you asked if we could meet for drinks. I took that to mean a date, our first date, end of conversation.
You know I'm engaged, right?
Of course, which makes the show much more, shall we say, interesting, intriguing, pregnant with meaning.
You were fine until pregnant.
Point well taken. But I did ask myself why a handsome, intelligent lieutenant who's engaged, why he would ask a superior officer, me, out for a date.
Pardon me, but maybe you're not that superior. Besides, maybe the question should be rephrased. Why would an attractive, intelligent captain reach beneath her station in life to accept a date with a lowly lieutenant who, as she already knows, is engaged? Well,
You're not that far below my station. Besides, I've been known to go slumming occasionally. I'm told it's good for troop morale. Seriously, you avoided the question. You're engaged. What's going on?
straight answer?
Yeah, straight answer.
I've asked myself the same question. I know that I'm not the same person I was when I got here X months ago, and something else. I found myself intrigued by you. I wasn't looking for that. It just happened when we first met, and you've been on my mind ever since. Is that what you wanted to hear?
That's quite a statement. You know, Robert, no one's ever the same after they've been here a while. Vietnam changes everyone. You learn things about yourself you never knew before, and if you're engaged and find you're attracted to me or another woman, my guess is you'll feel guilty. If that's what's happening, don't worry, you'll get over it.
How come you know so much?
Experience. This is my second tour in Vietnam. Been there, done that.
No shit.
Oh, shit.
Why 2 tours? Didn't you want to go back to the States where it's safe?
Not really. The female nurses, we all volunteered for Vietnam. Women don't get drafted and shipped over here like guys do. For each of us, it's a personal choice. It's what we wanted, to care for these guys, to keep them alive. This is why we exist. It's our reason for living. It gives our lives meaning, probably more meaning than we ever had before.
I didn't realize you were all volunteers. I'm impressed.
Well, we are. I did go back to the States, a 30-day leave between tours, but the whole time, all I thought about was coming back here. I guess I belong here more than back home, and where's my home anyway? It's the Army, my nurses. It's like a sisterhood that keeps us together. Black, white, Puerto Rican, Mexican, it doesn't matter. We're sisters. We're all dealing with the same shit. What we do needs to be done, and we do it well. I'm fucking proud of what we do. Hey, Lieutenant, you want to get me a refill? And one for yourself?
Give me a minute. You're already way ahead of me.
Sorry, you're right. It's been a bad day.
Are you okay? First time we met, you had a bad day. Are they all bad days?
No, not all. But some days suck. Some days really suck. And then there are those that are just plain motherfuckers. Today was a motherfucker. Look, I love what we do, or I wouldn't be doing it. We all do. But it can be exhausting. And as I said, today was a real motherfucker.
Want to tell me about it?
Wants to tell. Got called in at midnight, code red, got 1 hour of sleep. That's the worst. 1 hour seemed like a million choppers, medevacs, all came in at once. Some base up north got hit. After that, it was all adrenaline, instinct, and teamwork. Everyone knows what their job is, what they got to do. I put in almost 20 straight hours. We were able to save most of them, but not all, and that hurts. It always hurts. They're all kids, also fucking young. We save the wounded, we comfort the dying, hold their hands, but we just can't save them all. And then I just went back to my room and wept.
We didn't have to meet tonight. We could have put it off.
Let me finish. I just cried and cried. And then I took a shower. I wanted to get cleaned up for tonight, wanted to look nice for you. And you want to know what I did after my shower?
It's up to you.
I put on my one sexy bra, my one sexy panties, some fresh fatigues. You know why? Tell you guys wouldn't understand. 2 reasons. First reason, I may go around in scrubs all day or ratty fatigues or look like shit or act like a tough-ass captain, but damn it, I am a woman. I wanted to feel like a woman, feminine, sexy, desirable, attractive. If only for a few hours, I needed that. That's reason number 1. Are you ready for reason number 2, Lieutenant? I think you'll really like this one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Reason number 2, I want to go to bed with you. No, don't look at me like that. I'm serious. I want you to take me to bed tonight. Pure and simple, to hold me, to have sex with me, no strings attached.
Jesus, Eve, I'm engaged. Where did that come from? What's going on? Why me?
What's going on? That's pretty obvious, isn't it? I want you to make love to me. And why you? Well, when we first met, I liked you. You didn't come across like a pompous, egotistical ass. I felt comfortable, no pressure, no pretense. We could talk. Where's the shame in that? There is none. It's called chemistry, Robert. Chemistry. And you can't manufacture it. So cue my sexy bra, my sexy panties, and my not so subtle invitation to take me to bed. I know, I'm being direct. But I prefer being direct rather than going through all the usual bullshit that let's play it cool verbal foreplay.
Eve, I gotta be honest, it may have been my fantasy. Okay, it's probably my fantasy, but not like this. I'm not even sure I'm ready for this.
Oh, you're ready, Robert. You just don't know it, but you're ready. Let me ask you a question. Do you like to fuck?
Do I like to fuck?
Yeah, right. Do you like to fuck? Don't act so surprised. It's a simple question. Do you like to fuck? Have sexual intercourse, copulate, fornicate, screw? Do you have a pen? I can draw you a picture.
No! I get the picture. I think I understand.
Oh, thank God. Well, do you? Yes or no? Do you like to fuck?
Okay. Yes, of course I do.
Okay, thank you. That wasn't so hard, was it? So do I. But God help me, tell me why some guys seem so obsessed with sex 24 hours a day, but if it's offered to them on a silver platter, like right now, their dicks shrivel up. Oops. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cast aspirations on your manhood. Yours didn't shrivel up just now, did it? Boy, I sure hope not.
Not to worry. It's fine. I'm fine. We're all fine. We'll get through this.
You asked what's going on with me, I'll tell you. When things get heavy, we all find ways to deal with it. Some of my friends, they drink to get through these fucked up feelings we all have, where every day, every torn body, every death makes this war seem that much more meaningless. A few of my friends, they're into marijuana, maybe something heavier. Me, my release is sex. Raw, sweaty, non-judgmental sex. Sometimes when I'm making love, I find I'm laughing when we're done. Occasionally I'll cry, it's so intense, but in this fucking war, with all the pain and shit I see every day, making love, however brief, is healing. It makes me feel human. That's right, human. Happy, alive. Tell me, Robert, why can't two people, us, you and me, why can't we simply care for each other, be intimate with each other, give pleasure to each other with no strings attached? Tell me, Robert, why can't we?
You're hurting, aren't you?
No, I'm fine.
Eve, look at me. You're hurting, aren't you?
Yes, I'm hurting.
All the time?
Just about.
No strings attached.
No strings attached.
We can try.
Thank you, Robert. Is there somewhere we can be alone, somewhere private, anywhere? Please, you decide. I'm too exhausted to think straight.
We can go back to my hooch. It's private. Would you like that?
Yes, Robert, thank you. I would like that. I would like that very much.
Act 1, Scene 11, September 1968.
It's finally happening! Hawaii's almost here. I can't wait. The last 7 months have seemed like forever, but we've gotten over the worst. Robert, I'm sorry if I ever made it harder for you in any way. But that's all behind us now. Just think, shortly after you get this tape, we'll be in Hawaii. And sweetheart, I will welcome you with open arms and 2 incredible leis. A beautiful floral lei to wear around your neck and an even more beautiful lei, the type we've been without these past 7 months. I know it's been so hard on you, my celibate, sex-starved warrior, my sexually deprived shell of a man. So on that happy note, good night, Robert. Remember how much I love you, and remember to get lots and lots of rest and to save all your energy between now and then. You're gonna need it, soldier. All of it. Every last drop.
There's a knock on the door. Door opens. Eve is standing there.
Well, Lieutenant, tomorrow's your big day. You're off to Hawaii. I thought I'd bring you a parting gift, a quickie, one for the road. Of course, no one said it has to be quick. I'm off duty until tomorrow morning. We've got all night ahead of us. We've got all the time in the world.
Act 2, Scene 1. we hear President Kennedy at a news conference in March 1962. There is always inequality in life. Some men are killed in a war, and some men are wounded, and some men never leave the country. Life is unfair. Act 2, Scene 1, October 1968. Robert and Karen are in a hotel room in Hawaii. Karen wakes up, sees Robert.
Good morning, my love.
Good morning.
You're up?
I'm up.
Doing anything interesting?
Just looking at you. You are so beautiful. I didn't want to wake you up.
Last night, it was so great to be together again. Finally. It was wonderful.
More than wonderful.
You didn't quit, did you? Wow, you were something else. I thought you'd never stop. I thought I'd never stop. God, how I've missed that with you. I loved every minute of it.
You were quite something yourself. The insatiable one. Couldn't get enough. Always coming back for more. Hey, that reminds me of a joke.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, you'll really like it.
Can't wait.
Okay, here goes. There's this guy, see, an amazing lover. Worldwide reputation, but he has some doubters. So he hires an agent, rents Madison Square Garden, and sells out the place, all 20,000 seats, with the promise he'll successfully make love to a dozen of the world's most beautiful women. Now, the big night comes and off he goes. The crowd's going wild, but by number 9, he starts to slow down. By number 10, he barely consummated it, and with number 11, he collapses. The crowd boos and everyone gets their money back. His agent is furious. What the hell happened, he asks. You promised. I don't know, the guy says, because it didn't have any problem at the dress rehearsal this afternoon.
That was awful, but I still love you. Hey, I heard a joke. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Okay, it's a little embarrassing to tell it.
That's okay. Your embarrassment is safe with me.
Okay, here it goes. Why do men like to name their penis?
Wow, that's pretty daring of you. I give up. Why do men like to name their penis?
Ready? Men like to name their penis because they don't want a stranger making all their decisions for them. Get it? They don't want a stranger making
get it. Actually, that's pretty good, but I'm not sure all men do. We never did.
Well, after last night, maybe we should. I've got some really good ideas, and if we hit a mental block, I could always reach down and give you some personal attention. See if I can coax a rise out of you, see what comes up, although I think I already know what'll come up.
I think we both know, but not right now. Maybe later. Right now, I'm hungry. You hungry? You want to go swimming? Go for a walk? It's our first day in beautiful Hawaii. I'd love to see what's out there. You want to go?
Can we just stay in our room a little longer? I mean, it's so great finally being with you. I bet we could find something to do right here, right now.
That's what I said. We could have breakfast, go out, hit the beach.
Well, that's not quite what I had in mind. I thought maybe we could stay in bed and pick up where we left off last night. And to get things started, soldier, how about I reach down, take our little friend in my mouth, and blow reveille?
Oh, it's been so long, I'm a little slow on the uptake.
Are you okay?
Sure, I'm fine. Why?
Nah, I don't know. You've just never said no to sex before.
I didn't say no.
Well, it sure felt like it. Is something wrong? I still turn you on, don't I?
Are you kidding? Of course you do. How long did it take me last night? 5 nanoseconds? 10? Of course you do.
Can I say something
Sure.
about last night? When we made love, it seemed different. It felt different. I mean, you did all the right things. You touched me in all the places and all the ways I love to be touched. You made sure I came each time. You even showed me some new ways, things we'd never done before. But you know, it felt like you were going through the motions. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's what it felt like. I'm sorry, Robert. And I don't mean to upset you. It's just that.
I guess I'm just so used to time passing between us, and now you're here. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel bad.
No, I know you don't. I know what you've been through, and it's not that. It's just, can we talk? Can we really talk, and can we be honest with each other?
Sure.
It's not the sex. You know, that's only one part of spending our lives together. I've read enough about guys returning from Vietnam to know there can be performance issues. I was prepared for that, but that didn't happen. Last night, you got hard right away. Whenever I touched your penis, it would snap to attention and practically salute me. You'd get an erection in, what did you call it, a microsecond?
A nanosecond.
Yeah, a nanosecond, right. You'd get an erection in a nanosecond. Performance wasn't the issue. It wasn't even that it seemed mechanical. I could understand that. No, it was like your mind was elsewhere. Like you had to manufacture a passion to prove to me, or maybe prove to yourself, that you still loved me as much as when you left. After you went to sleep, I just lay there, and all I could think of was something happened, something was missing, something had fundamentally changed.
But you're wrong. Nothing's changed.
No, please let me finish. What I have to say is important. What kept me awake was a sense that I had from your tapes over the past month or two that something's crept into our relationship, something that wasn't there the first 5 or 6 months you were in Vietnam. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Robert, look at me. Am I wrong?
You know I love you.
Please answer my question. Am I wrong?
I'm trying to answer.
I'm sorry. Go on.
Do you ever have doubts?
Doubts?
Doubts. You know, doubts. Doubts about us. Doubts about you and me. Doubts about us making it.
Little ones, sure, but not big ones. Everyone has little ones. Ask any of our friends.
Well, I've been having some.
Oh, that's it? That's all? Honey, that's no big deal. It's natural. It's okay. We can talk about it.
I think I'd rather deal with it myself.
Oh, are you sure? Maybe I can help.
Yes, I'm sure.
Do you mind if I ask a question? Just one, I promise. It'll set my mind at ease.
Sure.
This isn't about another woman, is it? Robert, tell me, this isn't about another woman. Robert, please talk to me. This isn't about another woman. Is another woman involved?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh God. Oh God. Who is she, Robert? Who is she? Who is she? Who is she?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, Robert, sweetheart, I don't care about some Vietnamese call girl. If that's what it's about, I can deal with it.
She's not Vietnamese. She's just there.
In the army?
Yes. She's a nurse.
A nurse? Jesus, have you slept with her? Have you had sex with her? Robert, look at me. Look at me. Have you had sex with her? Or have you been fucking her? Oh, Christ, have you been fucking some nurse?
Stop it. Please, stop it. That's not fair.
Not fair? Not fair. What's not fair? You're cheating on me, and I'm not fair. I'm supposed to be nice.
Please, I feel bad enough already.
You feel bad enough already. You feel bad enough. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Don't play the victim, Robert, because you are not the victim. God damn it. Want to know who is? Me. Me, not you. One quick question before I get really mad. Do you love her? Answer me, God damn it. Do you love her?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
I don't know? What sort of an answer is that? Of course you know. You must have feelings for her, yes?
I love you.
Answer me. Do you have feelings for her? Do you love her? God forbid. Or is she just some convenient fuck while we're apart? What is it?
I don't know. I mean, it's possible to care for two people at the same time, isn't it?
Care for two people? Yes. Love? No. Sex? No. At least not while we're engaged. At least not in my book. Jesus, Robert, at least say what you really feel. This is bad. This is really bad. What do we do now? Tell me, what are we supposed to do? You know, maybe it's not the real thing. You're over there. You're lonely. But all those letters, all those tapes, how much we love each other, I don't understand. What happened? What did I do wrong? What do we tell people?
I didn't say it's over. I still love you.
You are such a coward. Do you feel guilty? So guilty that you had to get this off your chest? I sure as hell didn't want to know. I hope you didn't expect me to absolve you to help you feel better. Hey, pay attention to me. Look at me. Does it make you feel better to tell me? Boy, I hope not. I sure as hell hope not, you bastard. You could have fucked that nurse the whole time you were in Vietnam and never told me. But no, you weren't man enough to do the right thing and keep it to yourself. do the right thing. Do the right thing. It was never the right thing. It was wrong from the start. God, I never expected this from you. Oh, and those special tapes I made for you talking dirty so you could jerk off to the sound of my voice. I hoped that would keep you happy until Hawaii, but no, you couldn't wait. You couldn't hold up. You had to find some scuzzy nurse to fuck, didn't you? And then you didn't even have the decency to keep it to yourself. No, you had to tell me about her and even try out those new moves on me last night, see if I liked them. I bet you learned them from her, didn't you? Didn't you? Oh, you bastard, you fucking bastard!
Not what you think. It's not about sex.
Well, bullshit! Of course it's about the sex. It's always about sex.
It wasn't. I didn't even know if I can explain it.
Don't worry. Don't even try. I don't want your fucking explanation.
You don't understand. I can talk to her in ways I can't with you. I see things about the Army and Vietnam that make me proud. Not the war, not the politics, but the people I work with, the sacrifices they make. I can't explain it. You're at home and all you see is the negative. You were even gonna go on a peace march. You're so against the war. With Eve, I can talk about these things. She understands how I feel. With you, I can't.
Eve, that's her name?
Yes, Eve. She and I, we see what's happening in the war. We know how meaningless so much of this is, but until the war's over...
Enough. I really don't know. I really don't want to know what you two talk about because I don't care. You think just because you and I have differences and you found someone to talk to, you think it makes it okay to fuck her? Do you? Oh, guess what, Robert? It's not okay. It's not even close to okay. Robert, you just dropped a huge bombshell on me, on us, on our future. You know that, don't you? You really did.
I'm sorry. I didn't expect this to happen.
You didn't expect this to happen. Jesus, Robert, are you fucking naive? What in God's name did you think would happen? That I'd be happy, that I'd forgive you, that somehow I'd forget that we were engaged, and I'd give you my blessing so that you could go back to your little nurse friend and fuck her with a clear conscience? Didn't our engagement mean anything to you? Anything?
I thought I could deal with this on my own. Keep it to myself and get through this week without hurting you. I wanted you to be happy, Karen. I love you.
So you were just gonna lie to me? 5 minutes ago, I loved you with all my heart, Robert. 5 minutes. And you broke it. You broke my heart. Do you know what that feels like? Do you have any idea? Right now, I'm confused and hurt and angry and scared. It's hard to think of love.
Some couples get through things like this. We can.
No, please, just stop talking. You don't mean to, but you're making this worse. You already said you don't know what you want. Believe me, if I could get on a plane right now and head home right now, I would. I really would. Let me think. Robert, I'm just trying to understand this. Just please don't say anything. I'm thinking. Okay. We've got a week here. It won't be the best week of our lives, and after what you did, it probably will be the hardest for both of us if we're ever going to work through this. Some couples do. Maybe us. I don't know. I don't even know if I can ever love you again or trust you again the way I did. And the worst part is, I know I'll never be able to forget. It'll always be there. But I think I'm willing to try. You bastard!
Act 2, Scene 2, November 1968, 2 weeks after Hawaii. Robert is listening to Karen's most recent tape.
Well, I've run out of things to say about my humdrum life. Oh, God, Robert, how I wish we could talk. Really talk. After all we went through in Hawaii, after all the things we worked out, these delayed conversations are more frustrating than ever.
There's a quiet knock on the door to Robert's room. Eve enters quietly. Robert continues listening to the tape.
I'm still afraid that your next letter or tape will say that you want out. And yet, Robert, I sense that after those last days together, we started to get back to where we once were. You know, that there really is a future for us. Because deep down, I believe it's what we both want. And corny as it sounds, we fell in love again in Hawaii because we truly do love each other. Well, good night, Robert. In less than 4 months till you're home. I love you so very, very much.
So that was Karen. She sounded nice. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to eavesdrop. I came by because we need to talk, because you've pretty much managed to avoid me since you got back from Hawaii 2 weeks ago.
Not really. We saw each other at the officers' club last week.
Oh yeah, you, me, and Keith, maybe 10 minutes. It's not the best way to talk. Seriously, why are you avoiding me? I'm a big girl, I can handle it. Look, you want me to leave?
No. I'm sorry. Please, you can stay.
Well, say something, Robert. Jesus Christ, don't just sit there. If you have something to tell me, just tell me.
I told Karen about us. I told Karen about us in Hawaii.
And? Oh, Jesus, Robert, talk to me. You told Karen about us, yes? Okay, so you told her about us. Oh, wait, let me make a wild guess. You told Karen you found someone you loved even more, someone who'll suck your dick and fuck your brains out 8 days a week, and that you and that someone will run off to Canada, have a passel of kids, and live happily ever after? Did I get that right, Robert? Did I leave anything out? Is that what you told her? Well, is it? Is that what you told her?
No, that's not what I told her. And that's not even funny.
That's not funny? Oh, excuse me, Lieutenant. I'm terribly sorry if I hurt your tender feelings. You know what's not funny, Robert? You want to know what's really not funny? It's you avoiding me ever since you got back. You know what else is not funny? It's two people, you and me, meeting here in Long Binh in the middle of a goddamn fucking war and getting close, finding someone to talk to, enjoying each other's company. Oh, and I almost forgot having really great sex. All that, and then you come back from Hawaii acting like some asshole without the balls to tell me what the fuck is going on. That hurts, Robert. That hurts a lot.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I care about you, Eve. I really do.
And I care about you too, you know that, but you sure have a fucked up way of showing it. Look, Robert, I've missed you. Can you please just tell me what happened in Hawaii that's so hard to talk to, that's made you avoid me?
I wanted to protect her. I wanted to get through the week without hurting her, without telling her about us.
Okay, so you lied.
I wanted to protect her, not hurt her. She's my fiance, for God's sake.
Okay, keep going.
And she found out.
You already said that, so she found out. How? Not that it matters.
She was able to figure it out. Sex reared its ugly head.
Wait, huh?
She thought I was distracted when we made love that first night. I guess I was. I'd been thinking about you. That plus something that's a little embarrassing.
Okay, which was?
We were making love, and I started doing some things, some moves you taught me that women like, stuff that Karen and I had never done before. I think she picked up on that.
Oh my God. You're kidding me. Let me get this straight. You tried some new moves on her that you learned from me, and you think she picked up on it? That's fucking... It's the best. I love it. You gotta tell me which things, which moves, what stuff. I gotta know.
Stop it. It's not funny.
I'm so sorry. I'm trying. I'll try not to make fun of you again. But I'm curious. You really tried some new stuff on her, stuff we do, and she enjoyed it. Wow. And then she figured out you really aren't Mr. Nice Guy after all, and she wanted to know where you learned it. Hey, Karen's no dummy. Damn, good for her.
Things got real serious real fast after that. She asked if I was seeing anyone, having sex with anyone. And that's when I was honest and said yes.
Oh, I bet she really appreciated your honesty then, yeah? And then?
And then all hell broke loose. Pretty much what you'd expect if your fiance cheated on you.
Yeah, well, thank God I don't have a fiance. Go on, how'd you leave things? When I got here just now, I heard the end of the tape where she said she loves you. She sounded real serious about that.
All the bad stuff happened in the beginning. By the time R&R ended, we already started to see if we could repair the damage.
Did you?
I don't know. I think so. Maybe. It's easy to say the right words, to say them and to mean them, but that doesn't erase what I did.
Robert, do you even know what you want? I mean, chalk it up to woman's intuition, but I don't think you do. You want both me and Karen, don't you? You want to have your cake and eat it too. Hey, Robert, look at me. Do you still want Karen?
Yes.
Yes. And me? Do you still want to spend time with me?
Yes.
Yes. Robert, I may come across as being a hard ass, but believe me, I can be hurt as easily as you or Karen. I may not show it, but I am hurting now. I mean, Robert, I'm almost 10 years older than you. 10 years. We're at different stages in our lives. You're just starting out. I'm already established. You and Karen may get married. My security is being a nurse who's married to the Army. More security than I'll ever find married to a man. At least the Army's predictable. Most men aren't. Okay, look, you know that I enjoy sex. However transitory, however temporary, I enjoy the closeness. I enjoy both giving and receiving pleasure, you know. Who knows, maybe if I were 10 years younger, your age, Karen's age, maybe I'd be a free-loving hippie, but you know, I'm not. I'm 36, I made the Army my career, and I take pleasure where I can. And I hope that the men I choose, that they'll treat me with the same respect that I treat them. And that means, Robert, if you're ambivalent about what you want, I can deal with it. All I ask is that you're honest with me. Oh, sure, yeah. No worries.
You know that I enjoy sex. Pick it up from that, or is it earlier?
I think that's probably your
Okay,
best,
sure.
best bet. When you guys are getting close, it's
Yeah.
a little bit rough because there's a bit of a shirt rustle. Don't know how to work around that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I
You
mean,
cut to Dan's mic during those times.
Oh,
it's
okay.
It's not
talk
like
to the editor. Yeah, no, we can probably work with that, but let's pick it up anyway.
Got a
Since we
separate
know.
audio channel on,
I
so
like
don't
the
worry about
intimacy,
it. So
but if you're
that's better.
just
I can try and open
just a
myself
little
up
careful.
this way.
That's all we're
yeah.
saying.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, but I also don't, screw the performance for it. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Right.
Yeah.
We have enough things. We have a few other mics in the room, so we can work around it a little bit.
Okay.
But,
All right. No, thanks
that's,
for bringing it up.
Thank you.
All right.
It's part of the gig. Where are we starting? You know I enjoy sex?
You know that I enjoy sex.
Yeah. We good?
In 3, 2, quiet, and here we go.
Look, you know that I enjoy sex. However transitory, however temporary, I enjoy the closeness. I enjoy both giving and receiving pleasure. Who knows, maybe if I were 10 years younger, your age, Karen's age, maybe I'd be like a free-loving hippie, but I'm not. I'm 36. I made the Army my career, and I take my pleasure where I can. And I hope that the men that I choose, they treat me with the same respect that I treat them. That means, Robert, if you're ambivalent about what you want, I can deal with it. All I ask is that you're honest with me. Look, you have 4 months left in Vietnam. I'm not going to tell you how to live those months or how you should treat Karen, but I am telling you how you should treat me if we're going to spend time together. You don't have to treat me like I'm the Virgin Mary. Just with decency, with respect, with honesty, and maybe, Robert, maybe with love, because I do care about you. Can you do that, Robert? Can you?
Yes.
Well, would you do something for me, even if it's selfish? Because I need that from you.
Yes.
Then please, Robert, please fuck me. Please, I need you. Just fuck me now, soldier.
Yes, ma'am.
Act 2, Scene 3, December 1968. Robert is listening to Karen's latest tape.
Dear Robert, there's something I need to tell you. Don't worry, it's not bad, it's all good. But before I do, I just want you to know how much it means to me, all the wonderful things you've said since Hawaii, especially now. I really appreciate how much you want our relationship to work. You made me feel like I'm your fiancé again, not just a girlfriend. And I need that now, more than you could possibly understand.
I want to work things out with Karen. At least that's what I tell myself. So why do I feel like such a shit every time I hear her tapes? Why? Because I am a shit. Because I'm sleeping with Eve again while Karen's sending me these love tapes. Eve was right. I want to have my cake and eat it too. Eve here in Long Binh and Karen waiting for me back home, but the cake is getting stale, rancid. It's eating away at my gut. I tell Karen one thing, that I want a future with her, but at the same time, I can't or won't break away from Eve.
And that makes what you've said about us having a future together so much more important. That you've ended your affair with that nurse.
Maybe because we're not married, it's easier to rationalize what I'm doing. What Eve and I do is our business. What Karen doesn't know won't hurt her. In Vietnam, they say anyone can get a pass on having an affair. You're at war, you're stressed out, you might die. And when you leave, when you go home, boom! Just like that, the affair is over. It never happened. Eve said that at her hospital they even have a name for doctors who cheat on their wives. Geographic bachelors. Geographic bachelors. That may work for others, but I can't live with that. It's already tearing me apart. I know one thing. I'm sure not proud of myself. God, I wish I'd been born a Catholic and could absolve myself at confession.
In my head, if not in my heart, I've come to understand why your affair with that nurse happened. Thankfully, it's behind us.
And then there's that one last wild card, that one door that I'm afraid to open, because if I do open it, I may find that I really love Eve, and that she and I, not Karen and I, belong together.
I need you, Robert. I need you now more than ever, because what I have to say next will have an impact on 3 lives.
I used to think I was an honorable person, that I'd always do the right thing, that I had a strong moral compass, but I was wrong. Those last days in Hawaii with Karen seemed to bring us back together, and then what happened? 2 weeks later, I'm back in bed with Eve. Moral compass my ass. Am I weak? Am I that weak? That selfish? That pathetic?
Robert, I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant, Robert. We are pregnant. Oh, I'm excited, I'm scared, I'm happy, I'm terrified, and I'm also so in need of you here, now with me, not 9,000 miles away fighting in some godforsaken war that we don't believe in, but here, next to me. And the worst of it, Robert, the most terrifying is this. Now that I'm pregnant, and even with all the wonderful things you've said, will you still want to be with me, to marry me, to raise our child with me? Or will having a baby turn you away?
Oh my God.
You know, after Hawaii, when I missed my period, I had a hunch. And this morning, the doctor confirmed I'm 8 weeks pregnant from those last special days in Hawaii. It was an honest mistake. I'm so sorry. I didn't plan this. We didn't plan this. I thought we were safe and we weren't. Ugh. I don't know.
Karen's pregnant. No, I'm not ready for this.
I wish we could talk. I wish you could tell me what you're feeling, that the love you expressed is real, that our future together is real, that the future of our child is real, because I know you'll be a wonderful father. And even if this seems scary, remember that I've loved you since the day we met, that I've loved you enough to forgive you for what you did with that nurse, that I love you now more than ever, and that I will always love you forever. Good night, my dearest Robert. Good night. I love you so much.
God. We hadn't planned this. This is not what I want. I am not ready for this. What do I do? What's right? Well, all my thinking about acting honorably, it all came crashing down when she said, I'm pregnant. We're pregnant. We are on solid enough. Are we on solid enough ground to marry, much less have a baby? Not when I'm sleeping with Eve again, we're not. I know what Karen wants. I'm afraid to admit what I want, what I really want. Oh, Karen, I don't know how to say this, if I can even tell you this, but I don't think I'm ready for what you're ready for. I don't know that I'm ready to marry you, to be a father. I love you, but this seems so sudden, so confusing. If we were to marry, would I end up feeling as desperate as an animal caught in a steel trap who chews off his own leg to escape? These thoughts just keep cascading down. Karen, Eve, a baby, marriage, fatherhood, what Karen wants, what I want. What can I tell Karen? What do I tell Eve? What do I do? What is right? Am I honorable enough to do what is right? Am I even honorable? Jesus, what am I? Who am I? Really? Who the fuck am I?
Act 2, Scene 4. Still December, one day after Robert learns that Karen is pregnant, Eve walks into his room.
You're unusually quiet tonight. It's not like you.
No. The officers' club was really loud. It was hard to be heard.
Everything okay?
We need to talk.
Uh-oh.
I need to tell you something.
So everything's not okay.
Last night I learned that Karen's pregnant. I'm going to be a father.
Karen's pregnant? Wow, that must have been a surprise. And you think you're the father?
What? Of course I'm the father.
Hey.
Who else would be?
Hey, don't get annoyed at me. I'm just asking.
Well, she doesn't. She wouldn't.
She doesn't. She wouldn't what? Sleep with other men?
That's right. Not Karen. Absolutely not.
But you do. You sleep with other women, but Karen, she's not allowed to sleep with others, but you are. She doesn't have the same right?
No, that's different. That's totally different. We're engaged. Of course she doesn't have the same right. And no, I don't sleep with other women, just you, period. One person, one woman, singular. Not women, plural. I don't sleep around, and neither does Karen.
Well, I've slept with other men. You know that.
That's different.
Oh, that's different? I'm afraid to ask how. You make it sound like she's a saint and I'm a slut. Jesus, I hate having to justify. You know what? I don't like to justify to you or to anyone what I do sexually. But guess what, Robert? Given the opportunity, Karen might be no different than me. Maybe she is already. You don't know, which is why I asked a simple question about the baby's paternity.
Can we just drop it?
Sure, but I was just asking, not judging. It's a legitimate question. Whether or not you're the father, come on, you must have asked yourself at least once, right? Didn't you?
No, I didn't. I trust her. I'm not cynical like you.
Oh, don't be so naive. I'm not being cynical, just realistic. I couldn't care less if she sleeps around. Might be good for both of you.
Well, she doesn't. Period. Can we just drop it?
Hey, well, drop it. Have you thought of what's next for you?
What's next? I guess we'll get married when I get back. But I gotta tell you, when I heard her tape last night, I kind of freaked out. Do I want to get married or not? Do I want to be a father? Do I have an option? Do I want to make something work with us, Eve? With you and me?
Us? You and me? You've got to be kidding. You can't be serious. Robert, Robert, you do remember, don't you? I warned you about this the first time we met, that I've seen how a relationship like ours usually end, and it's not pretty. When we met, you hadn't been with a woman in what, like 3 months, 4 months? I don't just mean sex, I mean talking, sharing feelings. I've seen it before. I knew where this could go. I had no expectations. Then once we started sleeping together, I was happy not to look too far ahead. I was satisfied. Something as simple as making love to you, being able to give you pleasure, having you give me pleasure, it helped make the rest of my life that much more tolerable. I thought you understood. No strings attached, remember?
But what about us? You never saw a future for us?
Oh, Robert, I'm so sorry if you wanted more. You must have known there was never going to be anything for us after Long Binh. That you had Karen waiting for you back home. Can't we just leave it as two people who cared for each other, who enjoyed having sex with each other in the middle of a war? You and I, we're so different. Our lives here are so different. Your job is answering congressional inquiries, resolving soldiers' day-to-day problems, making sure the Pentagon and Congress and everyone else is happy. My job isn't to make people happy. No, it's to keep people alive, to see that they don't die, and it's fucking stressful.
Don't hold it against me that your job is tougher than mine, that you see more blood in 24 hours than I'll see in a lifetime. We're in fucking Vietnam. We both do what we're asked to do.
Yeah, we both do what we're asked. And you know what's weird? What's fucking weird? I've thought about this. We're both pretty damn good at what we do. I keep my soldiers alive and you keep your people happy. And because we're both good at what we do, we help keep this crazy war going on and on with an endless supply of healthy soldiers, healthy and well-meaning congressmen keeping their constituents happy.
I thought you loved me, Eve. Do you?
I don't use that word lately. Loving someone doesn't mean you're committed to that person forever. I mean, surely that's something you understand. Thinking you love two people at the same time, me and Karen, but ultimately you can't have both of us, you know that. And you also know that I'm not marriage material. You still have some growing up to do. You may be an officer, you may be doing important work and shouldering more responsibility at 26 than most guys your age, but you still have a lot to learn when it comes to life and when it comes to love. Look, do you realize that if we never met, you'd probably be the happiest guy in Vietnam right now. You'd be going home in one piece to marry a woman who loves you. If we hadn't met, you'd have spent the year doing what every other guy does in Vietnam, jacking off to the latest copy of Playboy or picking up some exotic disease from some hooker in Saigon or Bangkok. If we'd never met, you'd be going home to Karen with a clear conscience. But that didn't happen, did it? No. Life got complicated. We met. We had an affair that meant something for both of us. And now it's over, Robert. It's history. Karen is pregnant. Robert, pregnant. And you are the father. Those are the facts, period. So what could you possibly want from me now? I mean, right now, today, do you even know? Look, go back to Karen, Robert. Go back and never, ever tell her we slept together after Hawaii. It would only hurt her.
But I still have unanswered questions. I still don't know if I'm ready to be a dad, or if I want to get married, or where you fit in.
Oh, don't you understand, Robert? I don't fit in anywhere. I do not fit in. And don't look at me for sympathy. You won't get it, or try to make this into some weepy, woe is me country western song, because it's not, Robert, it's not. Be happy, for Christ's sakes. You're gonna be home with your arms and legs in one piece and your brain's not all fucked up. I'm gonna make it easy for you, Lieutenant. So listen carefully. It's over, finito, done. We can talk if you want, but that's all. You may feel bad, but as I told you the first time we met, I don't do sympathy Look, you may feel bad, but as I told you the first time we met, I don't do sympathy fucks. Not for you, not for anyone.
I'm not asking you to.
No, I guess you're not. But look, 5 or 10 years from now, when you and Karen are married with 3 kids and a dog and all that domestic shit, do you want to look back with regret on how you acted after you learned Karen was pregnant?
Don't lecture me.
I'm not.
Well, sure as hell sounds that way.
Let's go back. Let's pick it up from I'm not asking you to, and Eve a little more, no, I guess you're not.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. 3, 2, Robert.
I'm not asking you to.
No, I guess you're not. Look, 5 or 10 years from now, when you and Karen are married with 3 kids and a dog and all that domestic shit, do you want to look back with regret on how you acted after you learned Karen was pregnant?
Don't lecture me.
I'm not.
Well, it sure as hell sounds that way. God, you piss me off, acting like you know everything, making me out to be a little naive kid. I'm doing the best I can in this fucked up world, so back the fuck off, Lieutenant. Fuck, I'm a lieutenant.
You can pick it up. Well, sorry.
Can I take it back to, I'm not...
Wherever you want, fine.
Don't lecture me. Or whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you to.
No, I guess you're not. Look, 5 or 10 years from now, when you and Karen are married with 3 kids and a dog and all that domestic shit, do you want to look back with regret on how you acted after you learned that Karen was pregnant?
Don't lecture me.
I'm not.
Well, it sure as hell sounds like it. God, you piss me off, acting like you know everything, making me out to be a little naive kid. I'm doing the best I can in this fucked up world, so back the fuck off, Captain. Back the fuck off!
Back the fuck off yourself, Lieutenant. You got a problem? Write to your congressman. Write to the president. Write to General Westmoreland. You know how that works. I bet you're good at that. Better yet, grow a set of balls, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and make a decision.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! I already have! Probably knew it all along. You simply made it easier for me. When my year is up next month, I'm going back, marrying Karen, and being the father for our child. And you can go fuck yourself for all I care.
Okay, I pushed you too far. I'm sorry.
Damn straight you did.
I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry. Really. Can we have a truce? Will you accept an apology?
Apology accepted.
Can I change the subject? Can we step back from our little nuclear war?
Sure.
Have you thought of a name for the baby?
Sort of.
Well?
Since I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, I thought of calling the baby Chris. Then, if it's a girl, she's Christine, and if it's a boy, he's Christopher. But that's also up to Karen.
Perfect. Look, I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but right now I'm starting to feel close to you again. I guess it didn't take much. It actually felt good to get mad at you, or to have you get mad at me.
Same here.
And you did grow a set of balls, big brass ones, I believe. I can hear them knocking together.
Not that big.
Oh, that's for me to decide, but let me finish my thought. Look, you made a decision. We both know it's the right one, but what I started to say is this. I'm feeling very close to you right now. Maybe arguing is good for us, brings us closer together. I don't know, maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's love, but if it's okay, I'd like to stay here tonight. I have a feeling it would be our last time together, and it would mean a lot to me, but it's your decision.
I want to say yes. It would be the most natural thing in the world. Sleeping with you is always special. Making love to you is always special. but it just doesn't seem right. It's not a matter of morality or ethics, or maybe it is. I really can't explain it. All I'm sure of is this. Knowing Karen's pregnant, having made the decision to go back to her and the baby, it would be wrong. It's not a matter of loving you any less. It's a matter of loving myself, my integrity, my responsibility to Karen, to our baby, of loving all that more.
That's okay, Lieutenant. I understand.
Do you?
I said I understand. Let's just leave it at that.
You're upset.
Robert, every story doesn't end happily ever after for everyone. That's reality. Our story proves that. Can we just leave it at that?
Can I at least walk you back? I'd like to do that.
No, it's better if you don't. At ease, Lieutenant. And thank you.
Eve leans, gives Robert a kiss on the cheek, but they say nothing. Finally, Eve turns and leaves. Fade to black. Act 2, Scene 5, February 1969.
Dearest Karen, this is it! My last tape. My departure orders came through. Next week, I fly out to California, and from there to you. I'll mail this tomorrow, and then it'll be a race to see who gets to you first, this tape or me. I hope it's me. There's so much to say, my love. So much to say, I won't even try to summarize what this year has meant to me and to us. Maybe someday I can put it all together, but not now, not tonight. Tonight will be the shortest tape I ever made, because tonight, all I want to tell you again and again and again is how much I love you and how much your love and support have meant to me. I am so excited about our future, about us getting married, about welcoming baby Chris, about building our future together. Who knows what we'll end up doing, but if we were able to handle the stresses of this year while we were 9,000 miles apart, then I know we can get through anything we'll come up against in the future. Leaving you last March, walking on the plane, saying goodbye was awful, the worst day of my life. Walking through your door next week and holding you again will be the best day of my life. I have never, ever been so sure of anything in my life. I said this would be a short tape, and it will be, but there's one very important thing I need to say. There's an expression I once heard. It goes like this: to err is human, to forgive divine. To err is human, to forgive divine. I never quite understood it before. Now I do. I've acted like an idiot this year, Karen. I know that now. I know that I hurt you. I don't mean to minimize what I did by simply saying to err is human.
We can't have any crackly bag or anything like that. My bad.
Okay, it's great. I've acted like an idiot will work, though. We'll pick up from there. I've acted like an idiot this year, Karen.
I've acted like an idiot this year, Karen. I know that now. I know that I hurt you. I don't mean to minimize what I did by simply saying to err is human. It may have been human, but that doesn't excuse it. It doesn't make it right. I was weak. I was wrong. And I am so very, very sorry. What's even more important is that you've forgiven me. If forgiveness is divine, then you are divine, truly divine. And I am the beneficiary, and we are the beneficiaries. And for that, I love you even more. I love you, Karen, more than you will ever know. I love you tonight. I will love you tomorrow. I will love you forever. I will love you always. So good night, Karen. Good night, my love. We'll be together again soon.
Robert puts the cassette tape back in its plastic case. Lights dim. Act 2, Scene 6. We hear explosions, see flashes of light, sirens, gunfire, shouting. Chris emerges from the darkness. She speaks to us.
This much I was able to piece together. It was February 1969, more than 50 years ago. At 2 in the morning, the Viet Cong attack Long Binh, Dad's base. Rockets and mortars are whistling in. Loud explosions. Dad wakes up. Has to be scary as hell. In my mind's eye, I can see him.
Lights flash. Robert jumps up from his cot and
He grabs his flak jacket, his steel pot, his sidearm, and runs for the bunker near his barracks. Poor Dad. His mind must have been in overdrive, probably not even thinking of me, just surviving. Surviving. Because he's a short timer. Only a week left before he goes home.
Oh shit! This can't be happening to me! Not here, not now! Oh please God, not now!
But of course it was happening. I understand Dad almost made it to the bunker when the second wave of mortars hit. The one that killed him. The time, approximately 0200 hours, Sunday, 23 February, 1969. And with all due respect, the Army can keep the posthumous Purple Heart he was awarded and any other medals. I'd trade those and anything else to have spent one day with him, just one day. The Vietnam War, that appalling, terrible war. As I said before, although Dad served there, he was no hero. He had enough going for him. He could have gone into teaching or found some other way to avoid the draft. But Dad believed what his hero JFK had said. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. That belief cost him his life and left me knowing him only through what others tell me, what Mom told me, plus one short letter he wrote to me before I was born. 2 months before Dad died, he learned he would be a father. Mom was 8 weeks pregnant with me at the time. Years later, she shared with me that I had been conceived on a beach in Hawaii on their last night of Dad's R&R. I asked how she could remember all that, and she smiled and said, "Sweetheart, what woman could ever forget making love to the man she loved under a full moon on a tropical beach in Hawaii?" Fair enough. That's what made his death so tragic, so senseless. He and Mom, they both had so much to live for together. Dad may have had a premonition he might not make it back from Vietnam, that something might happen before he ever got to meet me. I guess it's not uncommon for people who go off to war to write letters to their loved ones in case they don't come home. Well, Dad did that. He wrote this letter to me, even though I don't believe he expected to die. He was going to live. He was going to make it back. I'm going to get philosophical for a minute, so please bear with me. I've heard it said, it's too easy to get into a war, but too hard to get out. I believe it. Too often it seems no one wins. Everyone loses, even the winners. Look, 58,000 Americans died in the Vietnam War, a war we lost. And God only knows how many more had their lives shattered by the time they returned home. And what about the Vietnamese? They were the winners, right? Guess what? Add the North and the South deaths, civilians and soldiers. All told, the Vietnamese lost almost 3.5 million. 3.5 million dead. That's more than 60 times our losses. No wonder to this day the Vietnamese call it the American War. That's right, the American War. We built a monument in Washington, a beautiful, somber, black granite wall, etched with the names of 58,000 Americans who died in Vietnam. And Dad's name is on it, Robert James Henderson. It's about 500 feet long. If the Vietnamese had ever built a similar wall honoring their dead, you want to guess how long it would be? More than 5 miles long. 5 miles. So you tell me who won? Who won? No one won. Anyway, Mom became anti-war while Dad was over there. She told me he once got really pissed off when she decided to join a peace march. But did it ever cause them to question if they were right for each other? I don't know. Or to be unfaithful to each other? I don't know that either. I once asked Mom straight out if they'd remained faithful to each other that year. Her answer was delightfully cryptic. Vietnam was a difficult time for both of us, she said. What's important is that we loved each other enough to create you. I'd call her answer a definite maybe. Anyway, it no longer matters, does it? I once found a snapshot of Dad with a woman, a captain. They were in fatigue, standing shoulder to shoulder outside some medical building at Long Binh, smiling into the camera. On the back was written, "To Robert, the biggest, baddest, rear echelon motherfucker I ever met. Good luck always, Eve." I asked Mom if she knew who Eve was. No one special, she said, just some nurse Dad knew. I told you Dad wrote me a letter before he died. It was the only letter he ever wrote me. It was right after Christmas in 1968, shortly after he learned I was on the way. You know what's weird? Dad was 26 when he wrote that letter, which means I've already lived almost twice as many years as he had a chance to live. And I'm left clinging to every word a young man half my age, my father, wrote to me before he died. God, what a waste. Anyway, I'd like to read it to you.
Chris takes out an envelope, unfolds a letter. Robert, in his fatigues, is standing there.
I've read this so often, it's like I know it by heart. But reading it out loud to you, it's like I can hear his voice, like he's here with me. Don't expect any life-shattering revelations from him. I think all he wanted to do was talk to me. It's very short, almost painfully so. Dear Chris, first, I hope you like the name Chris. When I wrote this letter, you were still in your mom's belly, and I didn't know if you were going to be a boy or a girl. So whether you're a Christine or a Christopher, I hope you like your name.
Today is Saturday, December 28th, 1968, 3 days after Christmas. They say that right now, at 8 weeks, you're just a tiny little fetus, no larger than a raspberry. Imagine, a raspberry. Regardless, I love you, my little raspberry, and I always will, as deeply as I loved your mother the day we created you. Many years from now, when you're old enough, I'll tell you about my year in Vietnam, but not tonight. Tonight, I just want to tell you a story. It's a Christmas story about the Christmas I spent in Long Binh. Christmas in a war zone is bittersweet. Everyone's spirits are lifted. After all, it's Christmas. At the same time, everyone is aware we're in a dangerous place, a place that can get pretty lonely sometimes. As I write this, I am far away from Mom, but next year, Christmas will be different. Next year, we'll all be together, the happiest family in the world, you and Mommy and me. On Christmas Eve, everyone I worked with exchanged small Christmas presents. Then, on Christmas Day, the mess halls cooked a really good dinner, what we call a taste of home. Turkey and cornbread stuffing and cranberry sauce and sweet potatoes and apple pie for dessert. It was yummy. But many years from now, my little raspberry, by the time you're old enough to read this, what I think I'll remember most is something that happened on Christmas Eve. Not Christmas Day. On that night, I stood outside and looked way up toward the moon because something very special was happening. Something I bet you'll learn about in school. A spaceship called Apollo 8 was carrying 3 American astronauts, and it had been launched into space a few days earlier. Then, on Christmas Eve, silently and peacefully, it began circling the moon. Those 3 men were the first ever to travel so far into space, and then a few days later, they returned safely to Earth. It seems so amazing. But there's something else, and I want to tell you this so we never forget. On that night, Christmas Eve, I suddenly felt very close to Mom, like she was with me, and I started to understand in a way I never had before some of her anti-war feelings. You see, I was overwhelmed by the realization that it was easier to send those 3 men to the moon and get them back safely than it was for me to get home to your mother, or for my fellow servicemen to get home to their families, or for the war to end, or somehow for people to live in peace with each other, because it's so very easy to make war, but so very hard to make peace. It's like what Mom inscribed on a cigarette lighter she gave me before I left. It said, When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. I hope that by the time you're old enough to read this, you'll understand what I'm trying to say, that maybe we will have learned some lessons from this war, that somehow the power of love has overcome the love of power, that somehow we've learned to live in peace. At this Christmas season, at this season of peace, that is how I will end my very first letter to you, with much, much love. I can't wait to meet you in a few months, my little raspberry, to meet you, to hold you, to guide you through life, and I will. Good night, my little raspberry. Forever and always, I will love you. Your Dad.
And forever and always, I love you too, Dad. We never met, but I've always loved you, and I always will. Good night.